Alright, hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome to Play It Painted Live. Hope you guys are having a good Tuesday evening, and here we go. We got one of these. It's been a while. I know, we did a little bit of, what was that, Shatterpoint painting last time. And as you can see, I brought back the famous green paper. Hey, what's up? Placebo Pete is online. How's it going, sir? Hope you're having a good evening. But yeah, we're back to green. I do have that weird like silicone work area behind this. But it's just like what I tried to do was like show, yeah, it's still, you still cannot, yeah, it's too gleaming bright. It's too gleaming bright to get this miniature visible on camera. But here, I'll show you what it's supposed to look like so that you don't think I'm just making this up. Thinking food break, nice. Yeah, so these are 10 millimeter, basically high elves, from Forest Dragon Games. This is the army I'm playing for Tiny Town. This is a variant of that miniature in glorious orange resin, so you can see the details. Absolutely gorgeous, the details on these models. But when it comes to painting them, you have to prime them white, in my experience. You can, I think some people, depending on the army, you can prime them black and do a bunch of dry brushing, and they look fantastic. In the case of High Elves, I don't think that works. So I think you have to go the other way with High Elves, and you have to start white. And unfortunately for streaming, white is kind of, what if I did this? I'm gonna play with lighting for a second. Let's see. Oh, you saw it there for like a split second. I do like the softer lighting though. Let's see if that helps. We'll just stay with, let's stay with the softer lighting for now, and then we'll see if that helps. But basically, we're gonna paint over a white primer, which is what I've done here. Some common questions I get for Tiny Town is when you print these off, you know, what bases do you stick them on? For characters like that, they generally go on square. I tore something off this, I guess. Square 20 millimeter by 20 millimeter for like characters or individual monsters. Sometimes you go bigger. For units, if I can find it, should have one here. There we go. For units, we do, for one stand of units, it's usually a 20 millimeter by 40 millimeter. And you can see I printed all these on my 3D printer. That's the easiest way to do it. Once you get a set or an army, you print these out, or you can find 20 by 20 millimeter or 40 by 20, and then you do that. And then we also have like movement trays that we use to push them around too. So that's the basics of that. This miniature here, like I said, is a variant of this miniature. But what happened was, I had two of these standard bearers, which are like, those are awesome minis. I had two of these standard bearers, and one of them has a bigger standard. That's about the same actually. It's the same standard, but it snapped off. It snapped off of that standard bearer's base like that, and I was just having the worst time gluing it back together. So what I did was I swapped, basically took the blade off of the cavalry mini, put it on this guy, so this guy can be like a lore master or something. And then I also, I then proceeded to glue it onto the mounted character. Oh, looks like I have a support there. I'm gonna knock that off real quick, if my knife works. Did I throw it away? Maybe I did. That's not good. Hold on. Maybe I did. Oh no. you can just take a little like hobby knife and snap. Yeah. So, oh, thanks, Rory. Yeah. So it worked out anyways because, like I said, attaching the standard to the mounted miniature aligns with the character that that I promoted during the campaign. Right. The character was a spearman champion, but now has been elevated to the position of warden, and so he needs to have, befitting of a noble type character. He needs to have a mount, but he should also be um, like a standard bearer for the army. Now he doesn't have the standard bearer rule. I couldn't fit that in the points that you're allotted, but I did give him the warden rule. So he does. He basically plays like the heroic version of what he did in game, which is basically like defend and take a bunch of charges and hold a point. Like he's really good for that sort of thing. All right. So with that, and again, thanks for printing these out. They look fantastic here. Just I know you missed part of this, but the detail on these they are insanely good, right? So the detail is fantastic. Looking at the white primed one really doesn't do you any favors, and it's not good for your eyes. Okay, so let's start with painting the little face, and we're gonna take, like I said, speed paints. We're also gonna use the P3, I'm sorry, the AK Quick Gen paints, but I like Peachy Flesh for these. You can also use like Crusader's Flesh if you want. Crusader's Flesh does actually settle a little darker, so be aware of that. And literally, oh, that was already like way too much paint. You just need like a drop of paint, not even that, right? Because all I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight the inside of the helmet there, right where his face is. Okay. Then I'm going to decide what the rest of the mini is going to be. Wow, you can't even see that. This I apologize. There is no way to darken this down so that this works. Hold on one sec. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do, because there's going to be a lot of white on this miniature, I'm going to use one of my favorite speed paints that I don't think a lot of people know or use, but it's one of my absolute favorites. This is Battleship Gray, and this is just such a great color if you're going to be painting white. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some Battleship Gray, and I am going to add a little bit of medium to it. I'm going to thin it down just a little bit. You guys like that I put the map there on the bottom of the screen so that we can argue about what our turn 5 moves are going to be. You can maybe we can make peace treaties during the stream. Do you want to form an alliance or a pact or something like that? We can do that on stream. Let's see if this Battleship Gray is actually going to help. Hopefully it does. I'm going to put this over most of the armor and the cloth. You can see I thinned it down a fair bit so I can push this around the miniature and we can get a feel for what sort of detail we expect to see. Right? The other miniature, the current one that I have of this, is painted to be more like the classic Tyrion miniature? What if we all do it with Jake? Yeah, he's not here right now. We can form a pact against him if you want. You can come up with some rule like, oh no, you're not allowed to team up against me. It's in the General's Handbook, page 14 or whatever. All right, so you can see. Oh man, you still can't see the detail coming in, can you? Maybe what if I change the focus on? Hold on, let's get this on, and then let's see if you can actually see this. If I adjust the either maybe I turn down the brightness on the camera, or I try to sharpen the focus somehow. Maybe you'll see this. I did not. I get, well, this is the first time I painted 10mm on stream, and so, and it's not the first time I painted over a white primed mini on stream, and usually those start off a little tenuous in terms of like trying to see what it looks like, but this one I don't think you guys are seeing anything at all. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think you guys can make out any. You guys, for all you know, I might just be like brushing a blank brush over this, and you guys can't make out any of this detail. Hey, what's up, Jason? I'm gonna, yeah, let me get this this Battleship Gray on, and then we'll see if I can adjust the camera settings so that you guys can actually see what this looks like. Right, because with the naked eye, I can actually see all of the detail of this miniature now, but you guys probably can't. So let's see. Okay, so I'm going to, let me turn down the brightness and see if we can see it. Okay, that's better. And I don't need to, what if I turned off the, mess with the color intensity a little bit? I mean, that's better, right? What if I, is that, yeah. Oh, no, that's not bad. That's not bad, right? You can make out, we both win. I get a little bit more light out of it, and you guys get to see a little bit more detail. I think that's better. Right? Okay. So now I'm kind of I just have to kind of clean this up for now. But there is, as you can see, with the banner on, there is a ton of detail on this miniature. Right? Because I added a banner to an already fairly busy miniature. Okay? So let's paint the, I should actually let this, I'm gonna, so for right now, all the cloth is gonna remain this color, and then we're going to paint the horse. It is not gonna be a white horse because this guy is a noble, but he's what they call new money to the snooty high elves. So he doesn't have the cool, absolutely bright white horse that like the high nobles would have. Right? He just got promoted, so he gets a brown or a strawberry roan horse or a gray horse. I think I actually do kind of like the idea of doing like a gray horse for this guy. But I'm thinking about the other colors that are going to be on him, and it may not be good enough. So let's go with a brown horse. All right, so I can go with this. This is kind of nice. This is kind of a nice, like a light brown horse. So I'm going to go with this bone brown. Oh, forgot. You can't see on that side because the map is there. All right, so I'm going to go with this bone brown, AK Quick Gen speed paints. I haven't talked about these paints a whole lot on stream, but I'm a big fan of them. In fact, I need to find their direct analog to Battleship Gray so that I can swap fully to the AK system. It's just better for me, right? So we're going to do bone brown. And the reason why these are so much better, in my opinion, specifically for this type of application, is these are thicker speed paints. So whereas I wanted that thinned out Battleship Gray to bleed a bit, I don't really want this to bleed. I want to be able to control it much more tightly. And as you can see how that's like, I get a lot of precision out of a speed paint. And it's pretty awesome, right? So if I screw up, it's really just my fault. It's not the speed paint's fault. All right. So, okay, so we're all gonna plot against Jake this turn. He basically put up, if you look at the map there, he fortified 3 tiles. And he's got fortifications and banners on each tile, and there's no clean way to his capital. That is the most turtle move I have ever seen. We're not going to get to him. I still pose a minor threat to his port at A3 up there. But the minute I attack anything there, he's got a fortification at his back, right? That is a tall order for me if I wanted to try and take that port from him. It also puts him in a much better position. He doesn't need to barter for peace with me like he did on turn 2. He sued for peace, and I left because I frankly I could have pushed at that mine, but that would have been short-lived in my opinion if I went in and did that. But taking that port away, if I had done that early in the game, that would have been borderline catastrophic for him. Because he loses that income, and then he loses later access to the whole kind of south of the map there. He can't sneak up on Rory. He can't push into Kevin as easily. Right? I think the best and worst thing about this campaign is after you see all the moves plotted out, you get automatic buyer's remorse. Or at least I do. Every time I see a new move, like me and Kevin we revealed our turn 4 to each other right after our game. And I asked him, are you gonna defend your port? And he said, no, I didn't. I just fortified where I had to retreat. And I was like, ah! You mean I could have just moved and stole that port and been out on the water very quickly there. It is what it is. Okay. Alright. So he is not going to be all white. Okay? That's a different general. Alright? That's Galadar the Gleaming. who does not have a banner currently in this game. But he is a character that's in my old world army. So basically this army and my old world army have a lot of the same characters and even a lot of the same build. All right. He's also not going to have golden armor. So that's not going to be a thing. But he will have gold accents in the armor. Looking at the rest of it here, he will have gold accents, and he'll have more of the traditional, like, high elf silver. He'll have silver, gold, blue, and yellow. So we can work on that. What's interesting here, this moon up here is going to have to be yellow, and which basically forces this winged part to be white. So I might as well make sure that that's properly shaded. Okay. All right. But yeah, turn 5. We have a lot of considerations to make. One of which, Jason is going to have a boat, and he's going to be mobile. And he's going to be looking for a place to park, maybe. We'll see. We'll see what he ends up doing. He's probably talking to some people about where's a good place to park. But I don't know. I know I can say at least Jake has been staring at this map most of the day during his downtime, and maybe even during meetings, maybe during calls. I mean, not like I would have done that. I probably didn't do that today. Yes, no, maybe. We'll see. Okay, let's get a little silver down. It's not going to be very silver. It's actually going to be more of like a steel color. So where is my... Or I could go non-metallic is the other option. But I don't think non-metallic... I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, I can do steel. What? Where do you think? Putting a diffuser? Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, I could put a diffuser on it. I mean, I could change the lighting, but right now I think we're doing okay. You're gonna... I may even at some point have to turn the lighting, the brightness back up, because we're gonna lose some of this detail as I go on here. And then 10 million. Yeah, it really wouldn't be much of an effect, to be honest with you. But so that, like, the crest of the helmet there is going to be gold, but the body of the helmet will not be. It's going to be this iron color, or this cold steel color. And there's a little ponytail there sticking out. Let's do the pauldrons in this silver as well. Oh, I got these stupid cords from the camera and stuff bothering me. Hold on, let me see if I can do this without collapsing the whole thing. Ha! There we go. That's out of the way. Thin white cloth makes... yeah, good suggestion. Yeah, for sure. I can look at that. I don't know how often I'm gonna paint 10mm on stream, but we could do that, right? So, man, So this is really, so painting 10mm is really just sort of a little more color by numbers. You know, if you're doing a whole squad of these, you're going to be a lot less careful than I'm being right now. Can't even get my brush to like properly. There we go. Yeah, because his armor is not allowed to be quite as fancy as the other guy's armors, because he is just a, he's still a, essentially just an upgraded squad leader. I'm like lost here on this detail. I think I just go more silver here, like that, right? And then there's a little silver down here. Well, we're gonna tie this all together at the end here, and then you've got a little silver here on the boots. We could be wrong about turn 5. What if turn 5 is like actually a lot more quiet and we end up having to program turn 6 before Sunday? That's possible too. We could end up doing that. I could see that happening, right? If we still have a bunch of stalemates at turn 5, and then we have turn 6. We didn't give Jason much time to paint the army he just picked up the other day. So I'm not sure how we're going to try and address some of that. You know, I could lend a little bit of a hand to helping that. Okay, pretty good there. There. Let's give him a little bit of blonde hair. So we'll do a little pallid bone. Just a teeny tiny bit. You're not even going to notice it. All right, I'm treating this a lot like a regular miniature, but in all honesty, you shouldn't have to do that. But let's do that, right? Got a little hair on that dude. Let's do the pole. I'm gonna do, I have like an orange brown I can use on the pole. And I got a bunch of yellow to paint in too. Alright, so I'll just do that. But I'm sure all of us are pretty anxious about getting that next turn programmed and in, because we want to figure out what we're doing this coming weekend, if not the following weekend. Following weekend, I am supposed to be hosting a War Machine tournament. Good news is I'm not really hosting that War Machine tournament, right? It's really a friend of mine who's hosting it. I'm just supporting him with terrain and goodwill and all that stuff. Okay, so we got that down. That looks good. Let's do some yellow. So we're going to do yellow details up here on the banner. So we're going to break out some solar yellow. Another note on the AK next gen paints, if you are going with these, an absolute requirement in my opinion is to get yourself the little paint shaker balls and put them in, or invest in a mixer, because it's like really key to making them work is to shake them properly, or you're not going to get the best experience, frankly. If you don't shake them properly, you're going to be probably a little disappointed, because these things do settle. So you're going to want to keep them well shaken or shook. Okay. All right. So we go there. But yeah, excited for turn 5. I want to see where things end up. After having been in battles my last 3 turns in a row, I want to see if you guys end up getting into a bunch of kerfuffles. But yeah, it's time to ante up, put the big chips on the table, and let's see who shows up where. This is really interesting because it's likely Rory's first actual game. So we'll see how quickly he can pick up how to run his lizards. It's not bad detail, right? You can kind of see what's going on there. In fact, I'm really kind of liking it white, if I'm being honest with you. I think the blue might drown it out too much, but we'll see. Right, so that's all going to be yellow there. Let me see. Many other opportunities to do yellow. So I think we're going to move over to the blue now. All right, we played Warhammer Fantasy Battle 4th, so it's basically exactly the same. Well, maybe not so much, but okay. All right. I think we want to go. Now, here's the question. I can go with a dark blue, like a midnight blue, but I don't know that shows up well in this scale. I could also go with a much brighter blue, but I also don't feel like that. I feel like I did that on some of the troops, and I honestly feel like they're a little too sloppy looking with that bright of a color. Just the nature of having to paint these. Magic is slightly different. Slightly different. Yeah, it's just a tiny little bit different than the old Magic, the Winds of Magic. Magic actually pretty. I think we did a decent job balancing a system of Magic that, frankly, in like AOFR standard, Magic is absolutely, it's just a coin toss. Every single spell is a coin toss, and that just seems ridiculous, right? You're going to save up, 3 casting points, and then you rolled like a 2. And that was it. That was your shot at trying to do something significant with Magic that game, and it did not pay off at all. And you're screwed. So I really like the changes we made. I like that we added miscasts to both the casting and the dispel. And we've already seen, like, that first game that Jake and I played, I had a miscast on the cast, and he had a miscast on the dispel. Which is really interesting because you still, according to our rules, you still roll for the miscast. Even if the spellcaster does not successfully get the spell off, you still roll to see if your miscast, if your dispel ended up in a miscast. And that's kind of the hazards of messing with Magic. And it makes for some pretty exciting moments in game. Also, I'll point this out. I've been whining about Kevin's magma spell. Well, guess what? It looks like Jason has access to a spell that's not all that different than Kevin's spell, and his spell's actually even longer range. So that's pretty wild. But I need to know the difference between, like, what's the difference between 12 hits versus 1 hit that's blast 12? I think the only difference there is that the 1 hit at blast 12 is really only useful against units. Because if it's only 1 hit at blast 12 and you're using it against a single, like, hero model, then the hero model only takes 1 hit. So I think that's the only difference. So basically, Jason he's got a caster, or he has access to a spell that can still one-shot units, kind of like Kevin's does, is longer range than Kevin's, but can't really do a whole lot to multi-wound creatures, if I'm interpreting the rules correctly, which we all know I haven't been doing right anyway, based on my skills and level up thing that I flubbed. But hey, it's cool. We're all learning it. On that skill side, the skills are cool. They're not, after like doing a little bit more research on it, the ones that you guys helped me roll are not the absolute best I could have had, but they're decent. They may come into play in certain matchups, but a lot of times not so much. They might actually change a little bit. They might change how I configure those heroes a slight little bit, so that I am actually making use of those rules. But like, so for example, the one on Prince Balial that gives him the ability to ignore difficult terrain, well, most of the mounts he has access to outside of the regular horse that he rides around can already just fly. So that's not that useful. But, you know, if I do decide to put him back on a horse um, for a particular battle or two, it will come into play. All right. So you can see, now you can see that banner starting to come into view there. And we're going to make that further distinguishable. But for now, let's just keep going with this dark blue. As you can see, it doesn't cover all that well. So I may have to go back in and I may come back in and highlight this a little bit so that it does cover a little bit better. But yeah, this is like that. This is like that dark Calidor blue. And that's just a big old banner. I should point that out too. Big old banner on this thing. You guys have grown really quiet. I assume you're actually striking deals to attack me this turn. All right, and then let's do blue here, and then I'll do blue kind of along. So he'll kind of like standard and high elf stuff. He'll have blue bordering like there, and then let's give him like the traditional. I don't know. Maybe he should have like a blue. Yeah, let's give him like the blue cloak. So this part here also be blue. That. Right, and that's just a nice little offset against the rest of the colors that we're going to have. You know, so this whole cloak is blue. Right, and then the little detail there is blue, and this detail is blue also. Okay. All right. Slowly but surely he's coming in. Actually, yeah, if we're going to make him, he's going to be a little bit more standard dragon princey looking. So let's actually make this part blue too. And the dragon part on the dragon pommel at the top will also be blue. Okay. And you can see I'm not 100% precise with all the borders between the blue and the yellow, but we will be able to fix that. All right. But for right now, we want that blue to dry. What else am I missing here? I mean, this is the bottom of the cloak there, or bottom of the banner, I should say, right there. Okay. Okay. Right. Don't worry. We trust in the process. We're getting closer. Let's do a little bit of black. Actually, no. Let's do a leather brown mane, right? Because he's got that like strawberry roan color for his horse. Let's do that. Alright, so he's got, and he's kind of got that strawberry color on there. I guess I'm gonna not paint that part because there's no way I'll be able to reach that. But I can do it down here. Do the little hoofs. And let's do the tail. All that color. Okay. Coming along. Coming along. Alright. And then... Alright, so now this part's going to be a little bit quicker. We're going to move over to gold. And there's a lot of cool gold detail on this miniature as well. So let's get going with that. I'm going to do the brighter gold in this case because I think it's a better contrast. It's going to be pretty hilarious that I spent this time like designing and painting up this miniature, and let's watch him get killed in the next battle he's in. That would be hilarious. I mean, it would net me an achievement at least if it happens. Because he's honestly not that strong a character. Okay. So we're going to do some of these. He's just going to have some gold details. Right underneath the pauldron here. He's actually going to be a little gold on this side as well. He's going to have gold on his wing boots right there. Okay, and then a little bit. Oh, I didn't paint. See, I haven't even been paying attention to this side of him, but that should be blue right there. There we go. And that should be, that's the other part of the mane. So that should be brown here. Right there. And that part should be steel. Alright. Confusing enough for you? There we go. And then gold for the rest of it. I love that as I'm painting this, my palette is just like one dot of each color. There's no need to actually put any sizable amount of paint on my palette. I'll also point out too that when I painted the original army, I just did all the characters in one go rather than just painting one for stream. Okay. But yeah, you can see we're getting there. It's looking right. You can now see a bunch of the detail on him. Okay. What am I missing here? Oh, there's more gold. Should be. I was like, there should be quite a bit more gold on this guy. All these pieces here are gold. Right at the top of the barding. That's all gold. And then the little gemstone right here is also gold. There we go. Okay. Really getting much closer to having a discernible miniature here. Getting there. Alright, next up, I want to paint those top 2 tassels there instead of them being white. They can be like a brighter blue, so let's do that. That'll signify his original. He'll just have this like bright blue tassel up there to signify his original unit of spearmen that all sacrificed their lives bravely to wrest the northern mine from the Chaos Army. Right? And he was the one at the very end. Like, it's pretty funny because in game, I needed him to die. He was the only guy left in the unit. I thought he was gonna rout. He passes his leadership check after absorbing like the 4th charge. And yeah, the fatigue rule, even with the fatigue rule as we had it wrong, he was still like crazy amazing. Mainly because like he took 2 side charges. His unit took 2 side charges, and they still did not rout. Like, he was just left with like a handful of dudes after a side charge from a chariot and a side charge from like I think it was Furies. And he also destroyed a unit. Oh no, yeah, he destroyed a unit of Hellhounds, even though, like, frankly, it was just one Hellhound. There was some other unit like basically wiped them down to one doggo left. But he had taken their charge. He took a Fury charge. He took a chariot charge, and then he took a charge from like a unit of like Chaos Warriors, I think. In like 2 turns in a row. So he was just taking like wave after wave of charges. And then finally to the point where like him dying was part of my plan, because they're like, okay, well, they're gonna wipe his unit, and then my dragon cavalry can just go in there and then just finish Jake off. Basically just light up whatever is in front of them. And that was the plan. But instead of that, he lived. The dragon charge did go in and take out the Furies. But the clutch part is I hadn't thought it through. Like, nobody was going to be able to take that. Nobody was going to be able to take that final objective. It was going to be a draw. And this guy, he was the only free unit at the time. And so he came in there and picked it up on the last turn of the game. Jake had picked up that. Jake, after me, like, my dragon, like, killing a bunch of guys on the other side of the board to try to steal the 3rd piece of loot, Jake managed to sneak in with some light cavalry and just casually walk off the board with it, right? Couldn't do anything about it. And it was going to be a tie because the dragon cavalry had to take care of the Furies, but didn't have the ability to pick up the objective. So it was going to be a tie. And this dude living was literally the difference in the entire game. Right? I didn't feel like we were making it up that he had to be promoted, because like you see that happen in game, and yeah, it's pretty apparent to both players. Like, yeah, that was definitely the level of heroism that we talk about for like what would it require to promote somebody into being a hero. It would be that, right? Oh, I think I just messed up a little bit. That's the other thing, though. My mess up is not gonna be that bad, I don't think. I can clean it up if I need to. Looks like I may need to clean up a little bit. Hey, what's up, Jake? I just tried out Jason's roll d20. Oh, nice. Yeah, I did my revenue earlier today and entered that. It wasn't as good a roll as the previous 2 turns, but I'm still pretty happy with it. You know, I got the outcome I wanted, so we're good there. All right, so I'm just adding this to help solidify the blue. But yeah, this guy here, pretty heroic dude as a lowly spearman leader. Okay, not bad. Getting there. Actually, let's lay the foundation to correct that yellow up there. Right. But you know that this is stuff like this is what makes the campaign like super fun, because you're watching these stories unfold. There's this story that happened, you know, back at turn 2, and then you have on the southern front, you have the endless grudge between Big Hats, Big Hate, and my pony guy, Prince Balial, who's twice charged in with a full unit, got the whole unit blown to smithereens, but still lived to win the battle there. So that's been super fun. All right, next up, let's start on the basing while we're here. Like I said, I normally don't spend this amount of time on one 10mm mini, but you know, I know we've had some friends ask us how we paint 10mm, and this is one way, right? Just priming white and using almost all speed paints to get it done, and it's not bad, right? You just stick it on. You can see, like, right, like I was saying at the very beginning, you stick it on a 20x20. I put a little bit of texture on it, and then you just prime it white and paint it. And it's just the not so clever use of speed paints that does a lot of the heavy lifting for you. Right, you can, if you look at this closely, you can see the border, that round border there, but we can always put down a tuft there to help obscure that. So this is just camo green speed paint. Just to give yourself a kind of a grassy base. And then, like I said, you put tufts, you can put a little flower down. We're gonna give that a little bit more detail there. And the wings are, I've lost some detail. Oh, you know what I do need to do? Actually, I'm going to paint the blue edges here. Right? Then I want the wing edges on this side to be blue to kind of contrast with the gold. There we go. Okay. Looking pretty good. Pretty good. Now let's give this the sort of the outlining it. Oh wait, before we do that, before we give it the outlining, what I want to do is I want to get a little bit more detail on the banner itself. So let's see. So I'm gonna broaden these wings out a little bit, like that. Okay, and then now I want to have like a brighter yellow highlight. So we're going to use one of our favorites, pale sand, for that. Ooh, sorry. This might be a little too light, so I'm going to mix just a hint of radiant yellow into it. So Jake, when is our turn 5 program due? I'm assuming it's got to be due in like the next couple of days, right? Because if for whatever reason we program turn 5 and there isn't any significant happenings, then I would think you're going to ask us to program turn 6. I still think it's unlikely that there's going to be no significant happenings based on the state of the map, but just in case, right, we would want maybe a couple of days cushion in there if we had to. Okay, so now I'm just doing a little bit of detail work on the Phoenix. This is just so great with this character's background that he's gonna have this giant Phoenix banner. Okay. It's impossible to... Okay. He says it's impossible. I don't know. What if we all program hold? I think if we all program hold, I think we all lose. We all lose the campaign. There's no coming back from that. It's just, that would just be the dumbest. Oh, we're trying to figure out what. Yeah, I know. There's like 40 odd questions floating around about how do you run the Armada stuff. We'll do some quick gems. Again, you do not need to do gems on a model this small, okay? I'm just showing you I would not normally be doing this because I'm usually painting quite a few of these at the same time, but we're only painting one tonight, so he's gonna get gems. Okay. All right. A couple gems, and that's about it. Then I think we can move on here. All right, a couple gems down, looking good. Let's do. I want to do a quick little overbrush of like a light green, either a light green or like a tan. Let's do a light green. Yeah, let's do a light green to pick up a couple of the things. Oh, that's too light of a green. It's gonna have neon grass. We don't want neon grass. So we're gonna do a light green. This is gonna be like more like the classic goblin green, right? I'm just gonna give this a quick overbrush here, right? Just pull out a little bit of green on that base. Okay. Okay. All right. So now, looking pretty good. Now for the final kind of detail to help bring this all together. So we're going to give it a healthy wash of my absolute favorite wash in the entire world, Ammo Mig Navy Gray. Okay, this stuff is like the miracle juice for this scale and other scales. Anytime you have like extremely tiny detail and you want to show off a little bit more of that detail than what we have here. Let me show you how this works. All right, so we're gonna put some of this down here, right, and just start pushing it around. And you notice it's not discoloring that much, but what it is doing is it's giving you plenty of good shadow, right? It's filling in the blanks, basically. It's making this look. See how that looks more solid once that comes in? We got a little bit of shadow there. Okay. There, see all the detail on the phoenix? That all just sort of filled in. Let's get on the wings. See how the detail there just shows up, right? It's just magic stuff. Oh, we got questions about armadas. The armada has to be the same hex as the battle, not adjacent. Ah, we're talking about naval bombardment. So Jason is hoping, even if he doesn't, let's say he doesn't decide to launch a mainland invasion, can he still punch things from the safety of his ship? Or help punch things, I should say. The answer is yes, sort of. Yeah, see, that's all. And I don't need to do it on the white cloth because the white cloth looks fantastic. This is just, we just push this absolutely everywhere else. And it just helps. Look at that. See how it just helps define everything on that? Chinatown. All right. So you could wait for this to dry and do more highlighting, but frankly, we're pretty good with that. I'm pretty good with it. I don't know. He looks like that looks pretty dope to me. Oh shoot, my wife took my glue. No. I'm gonna have to, if I want to stick a tuft on, I'm gonna have to resort to something funky. Like this. And this gross. See how this like glue? I have this defunct glue in here where I had to like rip the nozzle off. It was not a fun time. But let's do it. I forgot how I based my... Did I base brown like my fantasy army, or did I base black? I think I based brown. I'm too lazy to go walk across the room and check. I'm pretty sure I based brown. Ships need to be in the same tile. Is there a ruling on enemy ships occupying the same tile? Do we have a ruling on that? See what I gotta do here. Boop. Boop. Okay. You're not like gluing there. Oof. Do not like. Do not like. Okay. That's why you need the white glue that's got the little nozzle on it. Alright. And let's stick a little tuft on there. What kind of tufts do I have? I have giant purple ones. I have these little green ones. Ooh, these little white flowers would be good. They would, again, commemorate his battle in the north. So let's use that. Okay. Okay. Two ships cannot occupy the same tile, so you can blockade. Ooh, that's rough. What do you do if... Uh-oh. Hey. What do you do if two ships are attempting to move into the same tile? How does that resolved? We can't just let you answer a question that easily. What do you do? The two ships are attempting to occupy the same tile. All right. Total hypothetical, or in land, Jason has a ship on the shoreline. He can bombard their battle. What if he just wants to cause havoc and he bombards the whole battle? So you put it, I guess you would just center the blast in the middle of the board and then just scatter it random directions. Okay. The next time I do this, guys, I'll open up the Discord voice so we can just hop on voice. It's a lot to catch up just reading comments when we want to be discussing things live. That's hilarious. You indiscriminately fire deep. Oh my gosh. I need to save up for 2 boats. So I can have one boat that never transports anything. It just fires on whatever's at the shore. That would be awesome. Alright. Okay. So we're going to let this guy dry, but what do you think? Pretty sick, right? This dude, it's such a great sculpt. It is Thellendryl, the Dauntless, the hero of the Northern Mine Attack. He's pretty sick. It's a great sculpt. It's again, it's old school Tyrion, basically. I think he looks cooler than this. This model looks sick, man. Like he's dope. That was like the best thing to happen was this model's banner snapping off so that I could do that. Okay, so yeah, so if one is already holding the spot, that makes sense. But what if let's say two uh what if two different fleets are trying to port at the same dock? And so both of the orders are for them to move and then port. Yeah. I don't know. There's something, we got to figure something out there. Maybe it becomes like there's like a you fight like a boarding action fight or something, right? And it's only you only get to use like half your points. And like Jason was saying, we build a map that is basically like the deck of two ships, and you just shoot at each other. Okay, so you dice off and the winner completes your move. That makes sense. It's not that big a deal because the other player, if they can't make it to that dock, then they can attempt to anchor at a different shoreline. I would assume, right? That's probably accurate. Like you can't see this one at all, but we'll have to paint that at some point. Yeah, I think if we wanted to do boarding action, um, the only issue is it does give something like that would give a pretty significant advantage to flyers. So I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not the mayor of Tiny Town, so but I don't know if that's good or bad. Maybe that means that you do want to keep some sort of flyer in your army list that are trying to get out to sea. You're gonna want to bring some um, like ranged units. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, we'll figure that out. Anyways, we are done painting this guy. I think he look. Let me turn on the. What if I turn the brightness back up? Can we? Does he look any better? That's too bright. Now you can't really see much. That's a bit better. Because that's a game to get to the game that you wanted to get to the tile that you were heading towards. Oh, whoops. Look at that. on camera. I saw a mistake that I must repair right now. All right. So there you go. You guys see that is my promoted hero character. You can try to come kill him now. He's worth 2 XP. So there you go. All right, guys. Uh, we'll leave it open for a couple of more comments here, but yeah, 10 millimeter. It should not take you an hour to paint this. It is. You guys saw. I took extra steps. I was a little more precise. I wanted to kind of show off a little bit more what you can do with the AK speed paints. Um, right, your mileage may vary. You don't need to. Again, for Tiny Town, they don't need to be quite that. You don't need to be quite that intricate with them. But this is a hero model, so you are going to probably want to spend a little bit more time on your heroes. All right. So with that, we're going to call the stream to a close. Thanks, guys, for joining. I want to do more so that I've got Rory made all these cool heroes for me. So I can paint some of these heroes. I can maybe even paint, help paint some other stuff if we need to keep things on track. And then I can open this up, and then we can I'll also open up my on-air Discord so you can hop in there and we can just chat live. All right, guys. So with that, we're going to call the stream to a close. Thanks everyone for watching. Have a good night, and yeah, we'll talk soon.